This is Browniesaur. Let's give it up for Browniesaur, everyone. He hails from Pokémon Sweet, a 2014 ROM hack by Afrem225 and Shanini, where the entire Kanto region has been transformed into a sugary snack paradise known as Sweetland. The trees are ice cream cones, the roads are chocolate, the ethics are questionable, and every Pokemon has been infused with saccharine goodness to become equal parts confection and companion. They are called PokeSweets and come with a brand new set of types. The chocolate type in particular fascinated me, however, for a multitude of reasons. First, I'm a glutton. Second, chocolate types take neutral damage from all the other brand new types, only taking super effective damage from themselves. And third, I dig many of the chocolate pokes designs, such as Browniesaur. So I'll be attempting a hardcore Nuzlocke challenge, where if my PokeSweets faint, they'll be considered dead forever. And I'll only be able to catch the first chocolate type encountered in each area. Can my team of tasty treats become the top dogs of Sweetland? Hope you're ready to find out, because I sure am. Welcome to Sweetland, a world where everything is made of treats, and every bit of lore raises a whole host of ethical dilemmas. I'm given the choice between 3 sugary starters, but I choose the only one that's eligible for this challenge, the aforementioned Browniesaur, a cherry and chocolate type. I also have 2 new rivals in this game, Mark and Katya, both of whom Browniesaur can brush aside after a bit of patience. You might be wondering when these 2 showed up, since it looks like it's just me and the professor in the lab right now. Well, Mark and Katya actually did walk in earlier, but I accidentally opened the help menu, and that somehow triggered the bug that temporarily prevented me from picking a starter until I replayed the cutscene, which caused Mark and Katya to assimilate into one being and phase through the wall. Yeah, Pokemon Sweet has quite a few bugs, and being over a decade old certainly doesn't help its case either. However, and I mean this sincerely, I love that this game isn't perfect. It's easy to reduce a fan game to its feature list, but you gotta remember that at the end of the day, these are passion projects. As long as I'm able to enjoy the game and can sense a personal touch being implicitly portrayed by the creator's work, then I'm fine with a technical flub here or there. That's part of the charm. Plus, the bugs in this game are usually just funny and not game-breaking. As for the PokeSweets themselves, they're overall great. The pun work in this game is on point, and some of the sprites are legitimately endearing. Let's give it up for Meowfin, everyone. Yeah! They're not all winners, though. Take Cookie Tot, who scores points for its name, but just looks like a regular Kricketot if it walked into a Twitch streamer's room. I can't dog on this fuchsia-colored dweeb I found in the forest too badly, though. For one, the juxtaposition and sprite quality in this game amuses me greatly. Secondly, Cookie Tot's drip is canonically so immaculate that it makes him taste better. And finally, this fashionista is a dual raspberry chocolate type, meaning he's gonna be our crucial second team member. Because surprise, almost every trainer battle in Pokemon Sweet is a double battle. And since I won't be able to catch any more chocolate types until I earn my first gym badge, that means the challenge will end if Browniesaur or Cookie Tot bite the dust before that. Fortunately, I escaped the forest and arrived at Pudding City in one piece. However, I have to swing by the Candy Manor before fighting the gym, during which I encountered the nefarious Team Sour and their leader, Wilfred, whose theme sounds like the word kerfuffle converted into audio form. Our first important fight of the run begins with Browniesaur getting a chunk of flesh bitten out of him. Cookie Tot's own bite and Browniesaur's super effective Liquor Whip knock out Rattata before it can act, bringing in a second Meowfin. The higher level cat uses Tail Wag to lower our defenses, while the lower level Meowfin lands a bite that causes Cookie Tot to flinch. Browniesaur sprinkles some cherry seeds though, which will slowly sap our foe's HP every turn. On the following turn, Meowfin level 15 uses a wasteful taunt. Meowfin level 10 scratches Browniesaur for a small chunk of damage, and our own duo's combined forces bring the level 15 cat below half health. The accompanying cherry seed damage then brings it into KO range. Cookie Tot and Browniesaur do have to weather a few more strong hits though before finally getting to move again, but Cookie Tot crits with Bite to knock out the level 15 Meowfin. All that remains is the weaker of the 2 vanilla cats, and although its stab scratch is pretty strong, really strong actually, Cookie Tot hangs on with a sliver of health remaining and joins forces with Browniesaur to bash in Meowfin's head and secure us victory. Whew, what a fight, eh? We're a bit worse for wear at the moment, so let's swing back to the Pokemon Center and So we actually have a third rival in this game, whom I named Big Eater, but he's more comic relief than actual threat. I actually battled this bumbling buffoon earlier, but Browniesaur handily mopped him up despite entering that fight at half health. And now this walking flop is looking to capitalize on our weakened state to finally one-up us. Unfortunately for him, I did my research before attempting this challenge, so I fully healed up my team with potions before devouring his underleveled goons with ease, granting Browniesaur enough EXP to evolve into Chocosaur. I also later evolved Cookie Tot into Cookie Toon right at the level cap of 18. For those wondering why I haven't nicknamed any of my Pokemon in this playthrough, I feel like it's clearer and less ambiguous if you refer to fake mons by their species name, at least for now. My mind will probably change later once I've gotten used to these diabetic doofuses. Now here's a fun twist, we can't leave the gym in Pokemon Sweet until the gym leader has been beaten. Have you got any advice for us to deal with this rule, Mr. Gym Guide? Gym Leader Barrel specializes in hard PokeSweets, which is just a fancier way of saying he uses one cherry type, one strawberry type, and one apple type. And while he claims his PokeSweets are too tough to bite through, Cookie Toon proves otherwise by ripping a huge chunk of flesh out of Kerator. Unfortunately, I read the type chart wrong at that moment and made Chocosaur use the cherry type Liquor Whip on the apple type Kerator, which was not very effective. Cookie Toon then takes a double whammy in the form of a Sonic Boom and a Disable that prevents him from using Bite anymore. I guess Barrel got pissed that we challenged his claim. Choco and Cookie band together to trounce Kerator while Gumbo uses Soften to raise its defense. How does that work? I soon remembered that Cookie Toon has a Raspberry type attack on hand to hit Barrel's Pokemon super effectively, dealing great damage to the unfortunately named Strawberry type Onix, whose magnitude is more like a mild tremor, as the stony Strawberry Serpent soon falls to Chocosaur's Liquor Whip. Gumbo, meanwhile, continues to use Schrodinger's Harden, but it eventually succumbs to the combined might of Chocosaur and Cookie Toon, granting us our first gym badge and access to Barrel's soft insides. Whoa, wait. What we actually got access to is the place I've yearned for since I was a wee lad. The mines. The candy mines. There was also some sort of coliseum outside the candy mines, but I got soft locked inside after trying to talk to an NPC and was forced to infinitely walk up into a wall like I was trying to pull a Mark and Katia. If you or a loved one has ever experienced wall glitch syndrome, please show your support by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Together, we can work to free these poor innocent souls from the dark void outside the map. Speaking of Mark and Katia, I do appreciate them showing up constantly. It reminds me of how the friend group from X and Y would pop in at various points in the journey. The feature probably would have been more well received if the X and Y friend group had more personality than cardboard cutouts. The trek through the candy mines was uneventful, even though Teen Sour's leader Wilfred showed his face again and challenged us to another fight. Our higher levels made it a breeze though, plus Wilfred's Meowfin kept trying to use Charm on our clear body, clearly not interested Chocosaur. Anyway, I'm at Orange City now, the city that isn't actually orange. But don't worry, because north of town past a pretty forgettable Mark battle is our next party member, who is orange, Flangoose. Not only is this orange dipped treat dripping with enthusiasm, but the dual orange chocolate type packs a handy sleep-inducing move. I can also head south of Orange City to pick up our fourth team member, another cherry chocolate type that can immediately evolve into the adorable Choco Fluff. With these 4 confections by our side, we can storm into the Orange City gym and marvel at the soda-filled pools before taking on the gym leader, Fizzy. In case you haven't figured it out yet, Fizzy uses orange types, who takes super effective damage from all 3 of the starter types, cherry, strawberry, and apple. That means Choco Fluff and Chocosaur can have a field day together, throwing out rock candies and liquor whips that rip through all of Fizzy's Pokemon like hot knives through butter. Choco and Choco here work pretty well together. They're also the same type and share the first 5 letters in their names, so you know what? They're a married couple now. It just makes sense. Fizzy agrees, as while she's giving us her gym badge, she lets us know that her bottle is overflowing with fizz. What is wrong with the people in Sweetland? A new feature in Pokemon Sweet is the ability to bake PokeSweets. Basically, you can use the berries you gather in each city to create a new PokeSweet that you can add to your team. This is an infinitely repeatable method too. That being said, I'm not particularly keen on acquiring a Cavities, so I'm gonna have to pass. Sorry, miss. Okay, fine, if you're so insistent. I have a lot of questions about Sweetland, and I only gain more as I learn about its lore. Like, PokeSweets can canonically be eaten, and some of them apparently even talk, but do they feel pain when you're consuming them? Oh, and apparently the world was created by a PokeSweet, and people just write love letters to it. And if the world outside is all candy and sweets, do the unchanged interiors imply that the planet is still the same at its core, and only the outer crust has become confectionery? I don't know, I got a lot on my mind, but Big Pastry might whack me if I ask any more questions. So let's move on to some banana themed goodies, such as our brand new team member Banana Bee and the banana boat. No, not that one. Aboard the SS Banana, I encountered one of the most adorable PokeSweets I've seen so far, a cook who can't stop tearing up while peeling bananas, and a guy who corrected my belief that Sweetland's oceans were filled with icing. They're actually filled with milk. That is so much worse. Dude, imagine the smell. At the captain's quarters, I encounter a sentient talking Lopunny made of chocolate that is actually Dark Chocobun, the sister of Sweetland's creation deity, Regular Chocobun. The dark in her name comes from the fact that she's made of dark chocolate and has no other implications whatsoever. Just don't look at her diary because you'll discover her sinister secret. Dark Chocobun is racist. Regular Chocobun can be found on the ship's deck, and after saving her from some pirates who promptly dive headfirst into the milk ocean, we're free to take on the Meringue City Gym. This gym has 2 leaders. One uses banana types, the other uses lemon types, and one of them might be serving their banana to the other. Our newly evolved Banana Buzz will play a crucial role in this upcoming fight, where our strategy will be to target the lemon types first because we have banana and orange coverage to hit them super effectively. Banana Buzz starts things off on the right foot with a haymaker on Gummering, and although the oversized, admittedly adorable Gummy Bear poisons our orange dipped mongoose, Flango connects with Sleep Flower to temporarily put Monana to sleep. Banani the Buzz then KOs Gummering the following turn and collects a nice defense boost. In the Generation 3 Pokemon games, when a Pokemon faints, the trainer will send out their next Mon immediately after, instead of at the end of the turn like in later games. That means when the gym leader tosses out their own Banana Buzz after Gummering goes down, Flangoose can immediately put it to sleep before it can even act. Monana tosses in turns while its teammate gets body bagged by Banani and Flango, inviting in the final Mon. From there, Bird and Goose can throw out super effective hits, chipping away at and eventually downing Lemdrop and Monana to net us our 3rd gym badge with ease. Oh my god. From this point on, the map opens up considerably, allowing us to access basically every city and area in Sweetland as long as it doesn't involve surfing. That's why I haul my mushroomy tush over to Candy Village and its flagship high-rise, the Tower of Candy. It's not a graveyard in this game, but a factory that manufactures rare candies. The battle against Big Eater was by far the least interesting thing I dealt with in the Tower of Candy, a place that included a guy named Sour Milk, an NPC you can interact with but doesn't say anything, and my favorite PokeSweet thus far, Gumballer. This design rocks. It perfectly captures the essence of Crustle while sporting its own sugary flair. Unfortunately, Gumballer is not a chocolate type, so I won't be able to add it to my roster. The current squad is more than capable already though, as they beat down Wilfred for the 3rd time, free the Tower of Candy from the clutches of Team Sour, and earn us a birthday cake, which is actually just the Poke Flute that we can use to add the vanilla chocolate type Snorlax to our party. Snorlax shows up on the game's title screen, so you'd assume it's pretty powerful, right? It's even got the good HP and special defense stats of regular Snorlax. Unfortunately, Snorlax ate the rest of its stats. This is one gripe I have with Pokemon Sweet. Most of the stat distributions are head scratching, to say the least. The movesets are also kind of funky, but I'll touch on that later, I promise. Because right now, I have something more important to show you. Panfisk can be found at Cake Tunnel, an optional area that's also the site of an invisible rock. Unfortunately, Panfisk is ineligible because it's not a chocolate type, but you know who is eligible? Kangaskake Cake. She's a big loser in the stats department just like Snorlax, but makes up for it with a decent learn set, Arena Trap, and a preternatural ability to determine your birthday at a glance. So she'll have a spot on the roster as we prepare for arguably the toughest stretch of the game, back-to-back rival battles at the Underground Path. We won't be able to heal between the 2 fights, and the level 32 cap restriction combined with Mark Katia's fully evolved level 36 starters makes this our toughest test so far. Fortunately, I have several tricks up my own sleeve. Firstly, the berry trees in this game regenerate faster than SpongeBob, meaning I can attach citrus berries to my entire team. And second, we have Flangoose. To kick off the battle against Mark, our newly acquired Kangaskake fakes out Bertzel, preventing it from acting this turn. Piestoise nibbles on Flangoose, but he shrugs it off and tucks the Ninja Turtle into bed. As Piestoise slumbers, Kanga takes Bertzel into the yellow, and although Flango gets paralyzed by orange powder, he still manages to bring Bertzel into the red with Orange Punch, allowing Kanga to finish it off the following turn. And by abusing Gen 3 mechanics again, Flango can sprinkle some Sleepy Powder onto Vampirior as it comes in. Both foes spend the next turn slumbering, letting Kangaskake and Flangoose land punches that deal sizable amounts of damage. The following turn is far less favorable for us, however. As Piestoise awakens, Kanga whiffs Fruit Punch, and Flango loses his turn to paralysis. He loses a second consecutive turn as well, and Piestoise's bite makes Kanga flinch, further hampering our faltering momentum. Oh yeah, and remember how Cherry, Strawberry, and Apple are super effective against Orange? Because I didn't! Fortunately, Flango hangs on by the skin of his teeth even after getting Isaac Newton. Kanga retaliates with a fistful of Fruit Punch, but Flango wastes a 3rd consecutive turn being paralyzed. At least his held Citrus Berry ensures him one more turn of action. Vampirior finally opens its eyes, but it and Piestoise go after Kangaskake for some reason. Why they didn't target Flango, I don't know, but thank Chocobun for that, as it allows Kanga to bring Pistoise into the red and Flango to finally break through paralysis to pick up the Vampirior kill. Kanga's cake celebrates by snacking on her own held citrus berry, putting her back into the green. Flango subs out for Banana Buzz, while Pistoise clicks protect to nullify Kanga's fruit punch. Also, the big stupid tree headbutts Kanga into the yellow. Pistoise greeds for a double protect but fails. Unfortunately, both of my PokeSweets fired their attacks into the ground, while the dumb looking tree tosses flimsy leaves around in a desperate attempt to garner love for the first time in its life. Banani chunks the idiot tree with his wings, and Pistoise does a very cool spin, wow. While Kanga finally downs Pistoise. That fat fucking tree is all that remains, and it gets chopped down and turned to firewood by our chocolatey comrades just in time for Christmas and the win. But we're not done yet, because it's time for the back half of this back-to-back. Since we weren't allowed to heal between fights, I had to waste my first turn against Katia, switching to Mr. and Mrs. Choco. Fortunately, Ricicle just hits a soft quick attack on Soar, while Strawzard makes an obscene face toward Fluff. Ricicle again goes for a quick attack, but on Fluff this time, while Strawzard slashes at Soar with big, meaty, super effective claws. He shakes it off though and plants some cherry seeds, while Choco Fluff's 3 hits of rock candy brings Strawzard below half. Ricicle proves his addiction to click and quick attack by doing it a third consecutive turn, and Strawzard attacks Choco Fluff for some reason, sparing Chocosaur's life before finally being put to rest. Sar meanwhile whips Ricicle into the yellow, and his held citrus berry combined with the leech seed healing restores him to green health once again. Hungry for more residual healing, Sar plants seeds onto Gummering, who can only muster a weak tickle of a response. Ricicle finally goes sober from quick attack and remembers that it has a pretty good move to spread paralysis, but that realization is a bit late as Choco Fluff directs its rock candies into Ricicle's skull, eliminating it for good. Mrs. Choco is then swapped out for Banani because our bird can hit both foes super effectively, and he essentially comes in for free as both Gummering and Sour use the sugary version of Leech Life, unbuffed 20 base power Leech Life. Chocosaur attempts to show these two losers what real heal maxing looks like, but for some reason the Lime type Sour is immune to Cherry Seed. It doesn't really matter though, as Banani can repeatedly chunk his foes with his wings while they just flail about, firing off weak moves in response, and Chocosaur gets paralyzed at the disappearance of his wife. Within a few turns, Banani and Chocosaur wrap up this fight, clearing this back-to-back rival gauntlet with remarkable efficiency. Good job, fellas. You know what? These chocolatey companions of ours have made enough of a name for themselves that I think it's high time I reneged on the no nickname rule for this run and gave them actual names. Some of these guys, like Banani and Flango, basically already had nicknames, so I'll just make them official now. As for the others, Chocosaur will become Velvet because he looks like a red velvet cake. Kanga's cake is now Oracle for her ability to view your personal information at just a glance. Choco Fluff will be known as Barber for reasons that will become obvious once she evolves. And finally, Cookie Tune, our reliable, versatile companion who's been with us since the beginning, shall henceforth be known as John. Welcome to Rainbow City, home of the 4th gym and one of Pokémon Sweet's most significant additions, Blackjack. No, seriously, you need to spend 1000 Game Corner coins to buy HM Strength, and Blackjack is the most fun way to accumulate that sum. Rainbow City is also crucial for this challenge because the department store sells Brick Break TMs, finally granting reliable chocolate type stab to several of our party members. They also sell evolution stones, meaning that Cup VL was goaded into baking earlier can be evolved into Begnion, an adorable strawberry chocolate type who happens to have one of the worst learn sets in the entire game. I've been holding off on bringing up this game's movesets until now because Begnion is the perfect example of the issue. It has access to one stab move, Ember. Yep, no damaging chocolate type moves and only one weak strawberry attack. The rest of Benion's moveset, including TMs, consists of paltry vanilla type attacks and a bunch of special moves coming off the lesser of its attacking stats. It kinda sucks just how many PokeSweet movesets get shafted in this game, like Benion's does. And I really hope this issue is addressed somewhat in the game's sequel that I've yet to play. Let me know in the comments if you want me to play that one too. For now though, I gotta focus on the 4th gym leader, Keela. You know, like key lime pie. Unfortunately for Keela, her name was the most interesting thing about her gym, besides the fact that they turned out all the lights to deter a single elderly voyeur outside, because the battle against Keela herself was a total cakewalk. Velvet evolved into Fudgesaur before the fight, but wasn't needed whatsoever, as Oracle's super effective Lemon Punch and Banani's super effective Banana Wings tore through Keela's entire Lime type team, netting us an easy victory. Well, time to head out then. I already beat the gym, why do you still have beef with me? After picking up a Cinnawag west of Rainbow City, I hop on my donut-wheeled bike and race down Strawberry Slide en route to our next stop, Berry City. It's home to Sweetland's version of the Safari Zone, Black Forest, which differs from the original Safari Zone in several ways. For one, Black Forest has free entry. It also has actual story relevance, as we have to drive away some pirates and rescue a wee lad whom we later beat up ourselves to acquire the Surf HM. There's also a trainer here with level 45 PokeSweets, but their movesets are so awful that this fight is no big deal. I also appreciate the Fire Emblem references with some of the trainer names in this area. You've got Dart, Henry, Tharja, Tharos, but the most consequential aspect of Black Forest is the available encounters, because 6 different chocolate types can be obtained here, split unevenly amongst the 4 different zones. However, due to the challenge rules, I can only add one of these chocolate types to my party. Right away I can cross off Choco Tank and Eggby because Beefy and Baldy can be found elsewhere in the region. Moose, who is actually a deer, is also a no-go since its stats suck, and adding another cherry chocolate type to the party would just be redundant. Fortunately, it's the only chocolate type that appears in its respective area, so we can easily avoid it. That just leaves Buttercup, Choco Rose, and Maltz. Buttercup is actually a pure strawberry type, but gains secondary chocolate typing upon evolution, as well as some superb stats. Unfortunately, Lillicake also suffers from terrible moveset syndrome. Choco Rose is just straight up terrible, worse than Lillicake in every stat, and somehow has an even shallower moveset. The only thing going for it is Horn Drill, but that's like being good at dancing while lost at sea. Finally, there's Maltz, who's actually got a pretty good moveset once it evolves into Velvivore, and its stats are... close enough. Welcome back, Fluttermane. It's pretty obvious which of these 3 is the best of the bunch and which one the developers liked best, but the chance of getting Maltz will come down to sheer luck. All I can do is cross my fingers and hope that I end up encountering... screw it, you and I both know how this ultimately ended. After that letdown, I comb the area surrounding Berry City to gain EXP and bask in the sheer absurdity of what this game has to offer. Look, there's Applin, not that one. And here's Meditite. Oh, sorry, we call it Medi-Blue in this region. Alright, enough stalling, let's beat the ever-loving snot out of the 5th gym leader. Berry specializes in blueberry types, duh, making Oracle our only real option to deal super effective damage. She fakes out Gold Pie on the opening turn, while Flango whiffs Sleep Powder, and the enemy barrier puts up a useless Mirror Coat, so I guess everyone lost on this turn. Oracle then launches a super effective Fruit Punch straight into Gold Pie's stomach, causing it to begin spurting blue goo everywhere as a pain reflex. Flango meanwhile connects with Sleep Flower to put barrier to bed. That lets Oracle finish off Gold Pie, and lets Flango put Frubat to sleep before it has a chance to act. A very necessary move since this blueberry bat is inexplicably the most potent chocolate type attacker in the game. Oracle misses her Fruit Punch the following turn, but both rows remain asleep, letting Flango wallop on the bat with a punch of his own. Gym Leader Berry heals Frubat to full health with a Hyper Potion, but the combined force of Oracle's Brick Break and Flango's Orange Punch sends that bat to hell regardless. Barrier wakes up, only to waste its turn clicking Mirror Coat before Flango tucks it right back into bed. Oracle tosses out another hefty Fruit Punch to half Sammercone's HP. Unfortunately, Sammercone also has Sleep Flower and puts Oracle to sleep as well, so I have to switch her out for Banani. Thankfully, Flango wins the Speed War against Sammercone and therefore wins the Sleep War too. Banani and Flango tag together to topple Sammercone, frustrating the gym leader enough that he uses a full heal to wake Barriered up. Unfortunately for him, the slumber party is nowhere near over as Flango sprinkles Sleepy Spores onto Raticake. Banani pops out of the ground with Dig, Barrier glazes Banani with its foot moments before being put to sleep for the 3rd time this fight. In a true display of my honed Nuzlocking skill, I misread the type chart and make my Mons fire back-to-back not very effective hits at Raticake, who wakes up and sends some stinky milk water our way that fortunately misses Banani. The gym leader then pops a potion to heal up Raticake, only for Banani and Flango to bring the polka-dotted vermin back to where it was before it resorted to using drugs. With Barriered quiet quitting the battle, Flango and Banani can finish off Raticake for good and turn their attention to the Blueberry Mime, who gets crit and turned to ash by Banani, sealing this battle in our favor. Okay, now I want you to imagine what the entrance to an enchanted forest made of gingerbread looks like. You got something in mind? Cool. Now check this shit out. I pick up a Choco Tank in the Ginger Woods that I name after its sprite's radioactive green belly. I also evolve Barber into Candaros, and now her namesake finally makes sense because her belly looks like a barbershop pole. Let this fact distract you from the realization that she and Velvet no longer share Choco in their names, implying that they are divorced. Anyway, welcome to Saffron City. Oh, sorry, Grapevine City. No wait, it might still be Saffron City. A cult dedicated to chocolate can be found in this city, but there are a bunch of weirdos whom I refuse to associate with. Instead, I'll be busy liberating Chocobuns Pokemon's research company from the nefarious Team Sour. As mentioned in my Yellow Legacy Nuzlocke video, I've got the most efficient path through Silph Co committed to memory. First, I have to go up to the 5th floor and get jumped in the elevator. It's no big deal, we're a bit over-leveled for this area of the game, as evidenced by how easily I bulldozed through the 4th and final battle against Big Eater, although the level 50s we face on the top floor of the building would suggest otherwise. What weird level scaling. Team Sour's boss Wilfred is also here and ready for another brouhaha, although for some reason the game lists him as Jerk instead. Maybe I missed some sort of joke. No sleep shenanigans for this fight. The game plan is offense, offense, and more offense. The enemy Kangas Cake tries stopping us by faking out Banani, but John, who's probably motivated by how little he's contributed recently, retaliates by one-shotting Kangas Cake with Brick Break. Vampiria's pursuit is super effective against Banani, but it ain't enough to stop our offensive onslaught. Torturing narrowly survives back-to-back blows from our dynamic duo and responds with a strong pair of kicks to half-health John, followed by a Vampirior Thrash to take John into the red. His health berry heals him up slightly, but it would be wise to just swap him out right now. It would be wise to just keep John and his Banani finishes off torturing, but John's pin missile doesn't hit enough time to kill off Vampirior, meaning his life is at the mercy of the Serpent's damage roll. Oh, thank goodness. With torturing down, John can finally tag out, while Banani slices through Vampirior like some sort of fruit ninja. The opposing Flangoose misses Sun Powder too, letting Banani cleave through Flangoose with a critical hit slice, capturing us victory and a Master Ball that I'll never end up using. With Sweetland's most vital corporation back in good hands, we're free to enter the Grapevine City Gym and take on its stuttering, stumbling drunkard of a gym leader. Let's give it up for day drinking, everyone, yeah! Lavender uses grape types, which is why Barber went to town against her. Turn after turn, Barber blasted super effective rock candies through the skulls of her opponents, with Flango by her side as her witness and sleep spreader, and maybe also her rebound. The only real notable happening in this otherwise trivial battle was Grappipom being immune to Flango's orange punch because it had flash fire and Slugnut didn't. This game makes no damn sense. But it does make sense for a game about sweets-themed Pokemon to have an ice cream creature, right? This is Hyoka the Chocolate, our latest addition to Team Cherry / Chocolate. I don't know why so many of the chocolate types are also part cherry. Anyway, Hyoka can immediately evolve into Chocolish and then into the aptly named Ice Sundae, which looks like it's getting perpetually choked out by Homer Simpson. Also, its sprite in the party looks like this, and its stats look like this. Soon after, I got kidnapped by pirates at the Cinnabon Island border, but this is a world where everything is made of sweets and pastries, so I just eat my way out of my jail cell and snag my final eligible encounter, Eggby, on the way out, and then go down the street from Pirate HQ to the gym. The entirety of Cinnabon Island has become pirate territory, so it should come as no surprise that every trainer in the gym is also a pirate, including this dude named Ramen, who's packing a pumpkinette and a... This very handsome spherical glitch is a known issue, likely stemming from incorrect data for Ramen's Pokemon. Fortunately, the nameless question mark is harmless, it just refuses to leave even after the battle is ended. The 7th gym leader is none other than the raspberry-wielding captain of the pirates, but he's no match for Hyoka, whose moveset is pretty wonky as is characteristic of most PokeSweets in this game, but his high special attack means the strong raspberry and grape moves he gets can be put to good use, especially in this fight. This was another uneventful gym battle that consisted of the usual shenanigans, such as Flango putting everything in sight to sleep and John cleaning up the remains. That's badge number 7 in the bag. The 8th and final gym leader is exactly who you'd expect it to be. Team Sour's head honcho Wilfred. His vanilla types don't have any weaknesses, meaning we're gonna have to approach this fight a bit differently than usual, such as with a bang. Before this battle, I plucked Shmalugal the Eggby out of the PC, evolved her into Egglove, and equipped her with Cake Bomb to ensure an explosive opening to our 8th and final gym battle. And what an opening it was, because both Mintret and Cream Tuff went down, while Banani remained unscathed due to being underground at the time of the blast. Despite the 2-for-1 deal, you might still be disappointed that I sacrificed Shmalugal just like that. I understand, but in response, I present to you Egglove's Level Up Learn set. This thing was made in a lab to kill itself. Banani emerges from his burrow to batter the impeccably dressed Barrow Chef, while the enemy Cupcat screeches at Flango, who just covers his ears and sprinkles sleepy powder onto the chef. Banani and Flango get straight to work on euthanizing Cupcat, who cannot muster a meaningful response while his teammate keeps on snoring. I guess Wilfred didn't really like his cat all that much though, because he doesn't even bother popping any heals and just lets Banani finish it off. Flango's orange punch smacks Swell Peep on its way in, adding status to injury with a burn. Barrow Chef finally wakes up up, but just goes for the weakest twister known to man. This lets Banani finish off its fellow avian, while Flango puts Barrow Chef back to sleep. And now we need to lock in, because Wilfred's got an egg glove that could easily replicate the results of our own late egg bomber. Banani doesn't get the memo as he misses Banana Wing, but Flango does, putting egg glove to sleep before the foul creature can blow itself up. A misclick by me causes Banani to use Fudge Slap on egg glove, and although the accuracy drop is nice and Orange Punch does more than I thought it would, egg glove ultimately wakes up, only to use Smokescreen. Whew. Barrow Chef also wakes up but just starts imitating Sonic. The chef follows that up with Leer, which does little to stop Banani and Flango from successfully disarming the pink egg-shaped bomb. The duo can then hammer at Barrow Chef until it eventually perishes, securing us the win and the final gym badge. Thank you Schmalugo for your sacrifice. Your explosive contributions will never be forgotten. Let's give it up for Schmalugo, everybody. Yeah! With all 8 gym badges in hand, we can set off for Cake Castle, the site of Sweetland's Pokemon League. But before that, we have to clear Rocky Road, which is just Victory Road with all the strength puzzles removed. And look who's waiting for us outside Cake Castle. I kinda forgot Mark and Katia existed as they haven't appeared since the underground path. But still, they're a fine litmus test for how we'll fare against the Elite Four. First up is Mark, who throws out a level 60 Ice Sundae that we need to deal with immediately because it's got Sugar High, aka Calm Mind. Anyway, Oracle's Brick Break melts through Ice Sundae before it can deal any damage, while Vampirior thrashes about, hitting Hyoka in the process. Hyoka unleashes a Brain Freeze that hits Vampirior for a smidge of damage, but misses Snorlax. While Oracle wallops Snorlax with Brick Break, Vampirior continues thrashing about, and Snorlax shows off just how useful it can be by missing Rollout. Hyoka goes for another Brain Freeze, but again only hits Vampirior. That's the beauty of 70% accuracy, I guess. At least Oracle can finish off Snorlax, while Vampirior, suffering from post-thrash withdrawals, just smacks itself in confusion. Hyoka and Oracle work together to take out Queemscent before it can get off a move, and Vampirior manages to temporarily ignore its confusion to start thrashing again. But the Banana Serpent continues getting ignored as Hyoka and Oracle set their sights on Pumpkinette. Sorry Vampirior, you're gonna have to try a little harder to get noticed. Okay, I see you. For about 5 seconds as I go after Vampirior's teammate instead. A Rasp from Hyoka and a Brick Break from Oracle are enough to down a Molpie. We then finally give Vampirior the attention it wanted by taking it out as well, marking the end of Mark. On to Katia, whom we can thankfully take on after healing up the fellas. This task will fall upon Flango and John, the latter of whom demonstrates his might by downing Banana Buzz with a single critical hit. Flango adds to the kill count by KOing Gummering before it can even act, but our good fortune stops there as Ricicle paralyzes John. And Posh sets up a light screen that greatly weakens John's super effective Pie Beam, but Flango manages to put Ricicle to sleep, and John's paralysis is cured by the divine miracle known as Shed Skin. For once, Brick Break's niche use of shattering screens comes in handy, as John deals good damage to the opposing M-Posh, who misses Cherry Bomb in response. Unfortunately, Flango's Orange Punch is softer than tissue, and Ricicle awakens to rip through John's health bar with Orange Bolt. John wipes the electro-charged blood off his mouth and executes M-Posh on the following turn, while Flango puts Ricicle back into its bed sheets. That opens the door for Banani to tag in, while Flango successfully puts B-Sour to sleep as well. A strong Banana Wing from Banani and a strong Orange Punch from Flango aren't enough to KO B-Sour, but it remains fast asleep, while Ricicle awakens to fire off an Orange Wave that paralyzes Flango for all of 6 seconds, as he's cured by a Cherry Berry that I'm pretty sure he's been holding on to since at least the 5th gym. Banani can cut through Ricicle's health with Slice, while Flango finishes off a still slumbering B-Sour. He then gets paralyzed by Ricicle again, but I could just switch to Hyoka while Banani adds another kill to his long list, and the enemy Lagania misses Stun Powder. This lime-flavored dino is ultimately powerless to stop Hyoka and Banani's assault as they earn us the dub and entry into the prestigious Cake Castle. Every TM is available for sale here, and since the Elite Four members don't use one set type, my final team composition will consist solely of our strongest dudes available. That begins with Velvet the Fudgesaur, who hasn't heard his name called recently, but is still a force to be reckoned with thanks to his good speed, good attacking stats, and newly learned Earthquake. Just don't bring up the marriage around him, he's still sensitive about it. If there was an award for the most immaculately dressed team member, John the Cookie Tune would win it handily. He's also arguably our strongest source of stab chocolate damage, damage thanks to his ever-potent Brick Break. There's a lot of strong candidates for MVP of this team, but Flango the Flying Goose stakes his claim in his own unique way, by spreading sleep. It's an agenda he's subscribed to since he first joined our squad, and he's ready to spread even more of his powder all over his foes. Meanwhile, Banani the Banana Buzz is just a rock-solid, consistent attacker. Versatile moveset, speedy, and above all else, his name is just fun to say. Banani. Our penultimate party member will be Hyoka the Ice Sundae, our strongest special attacker available. He's really made a case for himself in the past few battles, and it'll be interesting to see what he can accomplish now that he's finally gotten access to Sugar High via TM. And for our final team member, I'm gonna go with someone a bit different. Oracle the Kangaskhan Cake has been one of our foundational Chocomons, but her middling stats have become an issue in the late game. Enter Cinerath, who possesses the same typing as Kangaskhan Cake, but also has superior stats and access to Hail. Her job will be to set the table for Hyoka's Brain Freeze, aka Blizzard, spam, hence why she bears the title of Maid. It beats the name I gave her before Evolution, and that's the squad of 6 that will be vying for the title of Sweetland Champion. Big Eater shows up one final time to unsuccessfully Aura Farm, but gets shooed away by the first Elite Four member, Steve. Oh, my bad. The first Pastry-Pokémon, Steve. Hyoka kicks off the battle by getting really high. Meanwhile, Flango misses Sleep Flower, Samurcone hits like wet tissue paper, and Quemascent hits like wetter tissue paper. With just a single special attack boost, Hyoka can annihilate Quemascent with a single rasp, while Flango does his thing and temporarily neutralizes Samurcone. We can thus focus all of our attention on Banana Buzz, whom Hyoka narrowly misses the kill on, but Flango manages to clean up even after getting fudge slapped onto his face to drop his accuracy. Parfuller has a supremely funny design, but it too is nothing more than another victim of Hyoka. Flango misses his second Sleep Flower of the fight on the incoming Vampirior, and Samurcone awakens to throw around its entire weight, inflicting enough damage to proc Flango's held Citrus Berry. He'll be staying on the field, however, as Vampirior has little in the way of actual threat, allowing Hyoka to soften up the Serpent and Flango to take it down. Samurcone's Ice Cream, however, brings Flango low enough for me to finally consider switching him out. In comes Banani, while Hyoka nearly one-shots Banana with Ice Cream, like just barely misses out on the KO by a hair. Samurcone's Peeler does little damage, and Tropanana's Banana Slip does even less, signaling the end of this battle. Tropanana goes down without any more fight, and although Samurcone fires off one more meaty Ice Cream should not have meat in it, and our Ice Cream does more damage. That's the first Pastry-Pokémon handled. On to Pastry-Pokémon number 2, Sarah. Thanks to being able to purchase every TM in the game, I can employ one of the most brain-dead strategies possible in this fight. On turn 1, Banani protects, while Velvet clicks Earthquake, nearly killing Ricicle and dealing a bit of damage to Strawzard. Both foes waste their moves on Banani's Protect. On turn 2, Velvet protects while Banani clicks Earthquake, and you can see where this is going. Ricicle gets dropped, and Strawzard once again launches an attack directly into our protected PokeSweet. It's now Velvet's turn to use Earthquake, and he gets a crit that drops Goldman in one single hit. Strawzard, meanwhile, just cannot stop wasting moves against the guy using Protect every turn. Perhaps out of sympathy, Velvet and Banani decide to use other attacks the following turn, resulting in a missed Banana Wing and Strawzard finally being put out to pasture. The enemy Tortoring carries Pursuit, but only targets Velvet, when it would have hit super effectively against the Banana-type Banani. Back to what we know best. Velvet clicks Protect, but Banani's EQ doesn't do too much, as Ice Sunday's Brain Freeze tears a decently sized hole in our Banana Bird, while missing Velvet. Tortoring honors his fallen friend Strawzard by launching an attack directly into Protect. Banani opts to slice through Ice Sundae, which is a weird way to eat ice cream, and Velvet's Mud Pie hits Swalapple on the way in for strong damage. Tortoring, meanwhile, continues to throw the fight by spamming Pursuit on Velvet. From there, it's a simple cleanup job. Banani misses the KO on Tortoring by a hair, and Velvet finishes off Swalapple with Strength. Tortoring does finally do something by landing a meaty superpower onto Velvet, but our starter hangs on and snacks on his berry while Banani cuts down Tortoring for the W. After overhearing a domestic dispute between the Chocobun sisters, I move on to Pastry-Pokémon number 3, Sen. John reminds everyone that he's the real deal by putting Velvefoire into the dirt with a single Brick Break. And Flango reminds everyone what he's best at by putting Maunana to sleep. The enemy Kangaskhan Cake narrowly avoids dying in one hit as well thanks to its Endure, but it also gets put to sleep, allowing John to finish it off on the following turn and Flango to abuse Gen 3 switching mechanics to put Chocoros to sleep as it comes in. Maunana awakens and uses agility, then gets even scarier the following turn when it uses a sugary version of Sword Stance. But that threat is short-lived as John and Flango knock out Monana with back-to-back hits. Even when I misclick and make John use Citra Bomb, that's not enough to stop our momentum. The enemy Gummering misses Sleep Flower before Flango annihilates it with a single Orange Punch, and Choco Rose also gets dropped with little issue. Flango nearly KOs Whimsiswine with Orange Punch, and although the Walking Grape confuses John with its swagger, we can just switch him out and let Flango handle business. Pastry at number 3 has been vanquished, and we didn't even take a single point of damage doing it. That just leaves the final member of the Elite Sweet Pastry at 4, Cinna, who is also the region's professor. No better time to finally bust out the Hail Brain Freeze combo. Hyoka sets up with Sugar High to boost his special attack, Straw's slices Maid for a small bit of damage, Maid summons the Hail that hurts everybody including herself, and Fudgesaur clicks Synthesis at full HP. I hold off on the Brain Freeze for now, making Hyoka one-tap Strawzard with a super effective Rasp instead. Maid meanwhile barely misses her own one-shot of Fudgesaur, but our foe just goes for growth. The stage is therefore set for our +1 sentient ice cream cone to inflict Brain Freeze upon his unsuspecting victims. Give him hell, Hyoka! Hell doesn't make Brain Freeze a 100% accurate move? Well, at least it crit Goal Pie and Maid's follow-up attack secured the KO, but man, that's disappointing. It defeats the purpose of Cinnarath being named Maid in the first place. Ugh. Anyway, Fudgesaur sprays Mud at Hyoka to bring him into citrus range, and on the next turn, Cupcat lowers Hyoka's defenses with Screech, putting her in a dicey position considering Cupcat also packs a super effective slice. For now though, Maid can deal considerable damage to Cupcat while Hyoka finally downs that pesky Fudgesaur. Hyoka subs out for Banani, and my prediction proves partially correct, as Cupcat does indeed use Slice, but targets Maid instead, who responds by putting the cat into the dirt. Pistoids' Rapid Spin hits for single digits, but it does do enough to trigger Maid's held Citrus Berry. Also, the useless Hail finally stops, thank goodness. Maid swaps out for Velvet as Banani gets up Protect, but we get punished for that move as Pistoid summons the Rain and Queemicent fortifies its defenses with Barrier. I try employing the Protect Earthquake strat, but Pistoid also has Protect, and Banani's attack does squat to Queemicent, before the Potted Poke's Rain boosted Hydro Pump shaves off half of Banani's HP bar. Banani buys some time by protecting next turn, and thanks to Pistoid's failed double protect, Velvet can tear through it with EQ while tickling Queen, who shows its appreciation by wrapping Velvet in a tight embrace. It's now Velvet's turn to click protect, and after downing Pistoid, Banani has to grit his teeth against yet another Queemicent Rain boosted Hydro Pump. That he survives, but just barely. After soothing his injuries with a tasty berry, Banani can hide behind the safety protect and watch as Velvet finishes off Queemicent and the last of Sweetland's Elite Four. While I was busy wiping the floor with the pastry, yet something sinister was occurring between the Chocobun sisters. In a very shocking and not at all foreshadowed twist, Dark Chocobun has imprisoned her sister with the intention of eradicating humankind. I think I was more focused on the fact that she's also a chocolate type specialist, just like me. So what better way to stake our claim as the greatest chocolate user in Sweetland than by taking down a literal goddess, his sister. Dark Chocobun is stealing my whole flow, by the way. Kangaskhan Cake and Cinnarath, really? Her Cinnarath can't even leave a dent, while ours can set up with Bulk Up. Yes, this is the move that replaced Tail. Flango's also here and makes his presence known by saying night-night to Kangaskhan Cake. The enemy Cinnarath attempts to read Maid's mind, but all it foresees is its life being extinguished by the combined might of Maid and Flango. Sleepy Kangaskhan Cake provides no support as our duo continues their rampage, with Maid one-tapping Snorlax with Brick Break, and Flango landing a soft but valuable Orange Punch against Moose. Kangaskhan Cake finally wakes up the following turn and endures, while Moose uses the chocolate type version of Mach Punch to deal super effective damage to Maid. Hey, I said super effective, I didn't say a lot. Maid proceeds to bring Kanga down to 1 HP while Flango puts Moose to sleep. That lets Maid finish off Kanga, and Flango put Choco Tank to sleep as it comes in, moments before Maid collects its Soul 2 in a single blow. Momentum is on our side now because when Dark Chocobun tries entering the battle itself, it gets put to sleep by Flango without a chance to even retaliate. Theoretically, shouldn't Dark Chocobun's team just be unable to act while their trainer is asleep? Whatever, D Chocobee stays asleep the following turn, and thank goodness for that because these are its stats. Maid's strong Brick Break nearly turns Dark Chocobun into a fine mist, and Flango cleans up the legendary tier threat without issue. The Slumbering Moose is the final PokeSweet standing, but it's too busy countering Sugary Sheep to stop Maid from landing one last Brick Break to secure the KO and ultimate victory. We did it, guys! We defeated racism! Oh, and we also became the champion of Sweetland and the undisputed greatest chocolate type trainer in the land. that too, I guess. Anyway, that's all for this challenge run. I had the itch to try an older ROM hack, and despite a couple of flaws, I'd still say I had a great time with Pokémon Sweet. Let's give it up for Afram225 and Shanini for making this ROM hack. And let's give it up for the channel members too for their continued support of my silly little videos. And you know what? Let's also give it up for the chocolate types who did the dirty work in this run. And while we're here, let's keep showing our support. Give it up for Gumballer. Give it up for Day Drinking. Give it up for